All right. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for being and staying with us. Welcome again to TechWay. Thank you again. Welcome away to TechWay. And you may be wondering what's TechWay? What are we all about? TechWay is an event brand that is powered by Thought Promotions, a leading event and digital technology company. And TechWay is simple, just like you can see on your screens, an inspirational meeting for aspiring tech entrants, newbies, and even those that are in tech who want to find their way in tech and even beyond. So you are basically looking to find ways how to get into tech, wherever stage where you are currently in. That's what this event is about. Or you are currently a newbie in tech and you want to find a way to how to navigate your way from point zero to point one or from point one to point five. Then you are going to be hearing people's stories here that would also inspire you. And then you can pick practical lessons and practical tips from there as well. That's what we are looking to do. And even if you're already established as well, you are able to also leverage lessons, and then you're also able to network, because really you must understand that knowledge alone is not what helps us to achieve success in our chosen field. Relationship is actually one of the one of the most ignored skills or tools that is needed in advancing our skills, in advancing our career as much as possible. And that's one of the things that we are going to be learning, we're going to be doing here today. And of course, beyond here, after this session, we hope to provide you with some other opportunities, some other assets that you may need to help you to continue to grow better and better in your chosen career in tech and beyond as much as possible. And that's something that we are hoping that can be helpful to you as much as possible. So please stay with us as much as possible. So in the first thing I would like to do just before we move fully into the meeting is that please, if you would not mind, please take your phone. If you have your phone device or your laptop, whichever one you are joining from, we want to know you. Just basically tell us your name, or if it's a nickname that you prefer, tell us the name, and then basically tell us why or what you are looking to get out of this event. Why did you join? What are you looking to get? What would you like to get at the end of this event? So please tell us your name. Sorry, I can't hear you. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. So, all right. Thank you. I think you already got help there. You always said you can't hear me. Maybe if you just join, maybe you need to connect your audio as much as possible. So please, if you can just type a chat in the name, tell us your name and then what you are looking to get or what you are looking to get at the end of this meeting. What is it that when you saw this invite, you felt like, okay, this is what I'm hoping that this can do for me. This is what I'm hoping that this can. One thing I can assure you is that if at the end of this training we did not meet that particular expectation, it means that at least we can take that as a feedback and then even do more or work around things, how we can actually even help you further after this session. So what are you looking to get at the end of this session? Tell us your name and then what you are looking to get at the end of this session. Who's going to break the ice? You don't know, don't forget, we have a book for every participant. Maybe we'll decide to only give participants that are active at this meeting. But please tell us your name. Okay, yeah, good. I'm already seeing some names already and some info. Yeah, please tell us your name and what you're looking to get at the end of the session. That would be lovely. And this is also one of the things that we need to learn. Networking. This already starts from here, putting yourself forward, not when you're in sessions or in meetings and trainings like these, you're not just waiting behind because let everybody talk, I'm not going to talk. For those that make headway in their career, especially even in tech, there are people that throw themselves in front. There are people that push themselves forward. There are not people that are hiding at the back. So if you know that's your goal, this is where use this opportunity as a testing ground, put out your name, let's know you, and then share with us what you are looking to get at the end of this session. So while that is going on, I'll just, of course, briefly mention a bit of some of our guest speakers that are already here today that will be sharing with us. So please keep it going, share with us your name and then what you're hoping to get at the end of this session. Please, let's do that. I may also pick some people for some prizes at the end of the day. You never know. So please, let's keep that going. Let's keep that going. If you can do us a favor, tell us where you're joining from too. That will also be lovely, so that we can also see how some things can work around that regard. All right, great. So today's session, we have three amazing speakers here. One of them all of them, you can see them on your screen. And just before they come up to share their uh, talk, I'm going to be saying a little bit about them. But of course, one of them who is going to be our first speaker coming up shortly, is Aimee Taachi. And for those who don't know her, maybe most of us probably don't know her, but she's an accomplished React engineer. She has over 8 years of web development experience. And then she's one of the things that she loves to do, of course, as for most engineers, is coding. And beyond that, she's also someone who is passionate about continuous learning, continuous development. Challenges is not something that she shies away from as much as possible. And from you can tell from her resume, from the things that she has done, that she's basically constantly looking to explore new technologies, building new things, building new innovative solutions as much as possible. And one of the goals for Aimee basically is someone who wants to make a brighter and a better digital world. And of course, one of the other things that we need to also know about him, maybe she also is going to share a story though, is that she actually self-taught herself to be an engineer, a React engineer. Started basic with nothing, no info, no knowledge. Imagine that you don't know nothing. And then you grew yourself, you learned yourself, you taught yourself, became a junior, you became a senior, and now doing amazing things with a lot of years under experience. So I believe there is a lot we can learn and we can get from that story, from a story. And I would encourage you as much as possible that please pay, pay close attention as she shares a story. And ground rule, please, it's important that all of us mute ourselves while this meeting session is going on. If you have any question, please write it down. You can send the question in the chat box. And in some cases, if it's possible, we take questions immediately after the speakers. And if not, some will just take them at the end of the whole session, if possible, which either way we are going to run around it, depending on our time, how we are using our time. We're hoping to do this, if it is possible, all under the space of an hour, maximum of an hour, 30 minutes. We'll put the 30 minutes just for extra, that's the goal. We want it to be short, practical, and straight to the point. No fluffing around as much as possible. Just short, practical, straight to the point. Ask the question, then you can go enjoy your weekend as much as possible. Alrighty. So that's that. Of course, we also have here Elizabeth Adegunwa, who is also a software developer as well. Elizabeth is a young developer who has not only thrived in the African market, who is also thriving in the United Kingdom. And she's also going to be sharing her story, as a young developer, what was I experiencing in Nigeria? For those, a lot of people that are here, what was I experienced in the UK? And how really you can also basically wherever you are, however, whatever your age is, you can also, the things that you can start doing practically now to enter into that space, and maximize the opportunities that are available. We also have Abdullahi Omatayo as well. Amazing designer, product designer, graphic designer. Started basically as a graphic designer and then move on to become a high-level product UI UX product designer and working with some of the global corporations, who is also very heavy on freelancing. Like if Abdullahi decides not to work for a company today, like it can survive as a freelancer. So for some people who want to understand how to even get into the freelancing game, you may also share a little bit, but don't forget, understand this, they will not be able to share everything that they know, but please pay attention and get the basics, that the least that you can get, and then hopefully subsequently we can get more things and then share across to you. But understand this, Top Promoter is basically here to also support you on this journey as much as possible with information, with practical opportunities that we are going to be sharing with you. The book, for example, is one of the things that we're hoping to share with you at the end of the session. When you join some of our community, you get some of those things, and then other opportunities, other events like this that you can be a part of. So please, if you also have friends who need to be part of this, feel free to share the link with them. We have quite a number of people that registered here, even though we have few people that have joined yet. You understand what happens with some of them. Well, we had close to 200 people that are registered for this event, but and of course a number of them, of course, will probably still request for the replay of this event. That's also one of the why we're not looking to wait. We're just looking to go as much as possible. All right. I know you didn't want to hear me speak today. Today is not my day of speaking. I'm just here to basically galvanize and coordinate this whole process. So we are going to be moving straight into our first speaker. But just before that, let me see those that shared, introduce themselves. Oh, awesome. Okay, good. Thank you. Oh, we have a few people here already. Nice. Thank you. Okay. I think we have Emmanuel Akuma. Yeah, thank you for joining. You want to learn more, know more about tech opportunity, career opportunities in tech. Okay, our speakers will touch on some of those. Cyril Alex, yeah, looking to learn from fellow designers on how to navigate tech industry. Okay, Kita, thinking about career change from media productions. Amazing. To gathering information. George, a final year student, I want to get more exposure into tech industry. My being here is primarily to increase my knowledge base and prepare myself for the labor force. Awesome. That's great, George. That's great. And Musimileoluwa Ajayi, I'm hoping to get more exposure and learn from others that are already excelling in tech. That's awesome. The only way we can grow is to learn from those that have gone before us. Then I'm David Whitty. Witu. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly. David Witu. I am currently a carer, and I'm looking to switch career to tech. Okay, awesome. I hope I get enough information from this meetup today. Yes, I believe that will be, he will get a lot of information. Aziz, my name is Aziz Aslam. I'm hoping I get more knowledge about how to start up a tech company. We'll be touching on that today. Let's hope so. You never can tell. What I would like to know more about requirement for startup tech company. My name is Timia. I wanted to connect with people in tech and would like to know more about how to get into the tech industry. Great. It's self-teaching. Do. All right. All right. Olaoluwa, customer service representative looking to network in tech space and build new skills. There's quite a number of people. So now let's go. Maybe we can come back to sharing about that. So let's quickly enter into the reason why we are here today. I'm going to be bringing up our first speaker. And earlier I shared a bit of our story. Her name is Aimee Taachi. Aimee Taachi is an accomplished React engineer, a self-taught engineer, by the way, with over 8 years of experience. And our goal really is to help as many people as possible, learn, and also grow in their own field and in their own career in tech. So please, ladies and gentlemen, if your hands are not too busy, if your hands are not too busy, please put your hands together for Aimee. Please, let's put our hands together for Aimee as she shares a story.
Hi guys. Thanks for joining today. Can everyone see and hear me? I'm assuming everyone can see. So I'm just going to share my screen. Oh, I can't share screen. I think I need permission.
Please try it. You should be able to share your screen.
Ah, okay, got it. So does everybody see the slideshow? Put it on play. Oh, I might just do it like this. Okay. So I'm Aimee. I'm self-taught web developer, soon to be a software engineer. My talk is going to be on like React.js because I have been doing that for the last 3 years nearly. But I'm just going to have a quick talk about me and how I got here and explain how you could do it if you're interested. So I'm a self-taught developer of 8 years now that lives in Milton Keynes. I'm currently from Dunstable, which is down the road from Milton Keynes, not too far. I grew up there. I decided to move to Milton Keynes because it's much nicer and there's loads of events on and networking, and you can make loads of friends there. It's great. So I've been working doing React for the last 3 years. Prior to that, I've worked at lots of web agencies doing like WordPress, HTML, CSS. but I wanted to move into a React role. So my last job that I have currently left now, I'd been there nearly 2.5 years, 3 years doing React. Yeah, so this is my YouTube and Instagram channel if anybody wants to follow. Code with Aimee. I've only made one tutorial so far, but if I get some more time, I will make some more videos if anyone's interested in learning some coding tutorials. But yeah, I'm going to talk about how I became a developer because I am self-taught. I have got no university degree. I've never been to university. I don't even have any A levels. So I left school when I was 16. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I was into art. I did art GCSE at school. And yeah, I didn't really go on a computer till I was 13. So yeah, so I didn't really know what I wanted to be, something to do with art, but I had to work out what I wanted to do. I had loads of part-time jobs and temp jobs, such as these, warehouse picker, shop assistant. And my grandfather, he got me my first computer, and he was a wedding photographer. And he used to use Photoshop to do his photo editing on. And I quite liked playing around on Photoshop as well. So I started like getting into web design. And I was thinking, oh, I want to be a web designer because that's arty and I like art and everything. But I soon came to realize I wasn't very good at designing. So I kind of like, nah, I don't want to do that. And then I started finding out what code was. So if anybody is old enough to remember MySpace, that was the first place that I probably was exposed to like HTML or whatever they had on there. You could customize your profile with different tags and stuff if you wanted to have background colors changed and that. And then there was also Yahoo GeoCities, which was another website where you could learn to build a website on. So that was my first two places that I found out about coding. And I was like, yeah, I really like this. I want to do a job in this. So I kind of struggled to find courses online back then. There wasn't really much resources online because this was like probably about 15 years ago. I probably started getting into this. And there wasn't really much online. I bought a course, which was books, textbooks. I didn't really learn much from that. I don't recommend buying a course that costs a lot of money because I was sold that I would get a job doing a course that cost me a lot of money. I got into debt from it. It did not help me one bit. What helped me was YouTube. So after doing this course that didn't get me anywhere, I started using YouTube to learn like HTML, CSS, because I have found out that I learn from visual stuff, not reading. And everything I have learned is from either YouTube or doing Udemy courses. So what I've learned in those last 15 years, well, 8 years that I've been working, I have learned probably all this in the last 8 years. Before I started my first job, all I really knew was HTML, CSS, and a little bit of jQuery, which is a JavaScript library. But that was enough to get me a job. And it was really hard to get my very first job. I'm not going to lie. It took me a long time to get a job. I had to first learn to drive because I needed a car to get out of my town because I was applying for jobs near Luton area and there wasn't many jobs around there. So I was quite limited to what I could apply for. So I learned to drive, got a car, and I started applying for jobs further afield. And eventually I got offered a job in Chesham, which is where I first became a junior web developer. and I was so excited. I was so happy. It was like a dream had come true. But little did I know that as soon as I started this job, I was like, oh my God, there's so much to learn. I had only just started. It was crazy. So I've just spent the last 8 years learning and learning. It just doesn't stop. You've got to be willing to keep on learning if you want to do this job, because the industry is always changing. So we have to keep wanting to learn new things, or you just fall behind. Yeah, so if you have got a lot of passion and motivation, then it's a good job to do. It pays well. It's really rewarding. And when you learn things and it finally clicks, you're like, oh my God, that's so great. And it just makes you feel really good about yourself. But it is hard, I'm not gonna lie. Yeah, so this is all the stuff I've learned in the last 8 years. I'm still learning. I'm not gonna say I know everything, because you can never know everything. Yeah, and this is some other stuff I do when I'm not coding. I like to be outside. I'm quite into photography, traveling. I've just come back from Turkey because I'm currently not working at the moment. I start my new job on Monday, which is going to be an energy company. Going to be a front end software engineer. So I'm super excited about that. The interview process was basically, I got an email from a recruiter, and everything in the email just ticked all the boxes, so I applied. But I've heard that a lot of women don't apply for jobs unless they tick all the boxes. Don't be afraid to apply for a job if you know some of it and not all of it, because they normally want you to not know all of it. They just put it in the listing in case, like, later on down the line you can learn it. So I don't really have much testing experience, but my job will need it. So I'm going to learn that. I've been learning it today. I've been doing a course while I was on the way to Bristol, which is where I currently am at the moment. Yeah, but just apply and you never know. I mean, I got this job, so I'm really happy. So I've done a little tutorial about React and what is React. But before we dive into React, we need to know what HTML, CSS, and JavaScript is. So HTML stands for Hypertext Markup Language, which is like the markup text that a website is made in. So you can think of it as like a cake, just a plain cake, no icing, nothing. You can make a website like that. It'll not look very nice, but it'll work and people will be able to view it. If we want to make the website look nice, we need to add CSS, which is cascading style sheets. That's the icing on the cake. Now your cake is really pretty and looks beautiful. But the extra thing is the JavaScript, which is a programming language that will make your website functional. So if you go on a website on your phone and you click on a menu bar, JavaScript will be probably doing that to open and close it. Or if you're clicking a button and it does something, makes a pop-up appear, that's all JavaScript. That's like the fancy candles on your cake. You don't have to have it, but it makes it nicer. So what is React? React is a popular JavaScript library for building user interfaces. So it was developed by Meta and has gained widespread adoption in the web development community. I believe it's probably about 10 years, maybe, eight years old now, I think. But it seems to be a really popular library. Everybody seems to want to learn it. And it pays good money. But I will recommend learning JavaScript before learning React, because React is JavaScript at the end of the day. So you need to know JavaScript to use React. So React has a component-based library for building user interfaces. So these you can think of as like Lego bricks. You have all these different Lego bricks, you make these Lego bricks, and then you piece them all together to build your UI, which is your website or your web application. It also has a virtual DOM, which is a document object model approach, where it updates only the necessary parts of the user interface, resulting in optimal performance. This lets the website be fast and interactive really quickly, whereas a regular website would be quite slow. So that's one of the advantages why people build websites and web apps in React. So we're going to go and do a little demo now. So if you want to install the React application, you can go on a sandbox website if you want and don't have to set it up locally. But if you want to actually play around with it and set it up locally, you need to install Node.js on your machine. So if you've got a Mac, you go in your terminal, which is this little system on your Mac, or Windows, you can go on the command prompt. You would write this command brew install node. React recommends to use one of these frameworks, such as Vite, Astro, Gatsby, Next.js, Remix, instead of Create React App now. Create React App was the popular, it's like a tool, basically. Vite has taken over from using Create React App now, because that's really slow now. So I normally use Vite, but you can use Next.js or any of these other ones. So in your terminal window, you would run npx create next app latest, and this will build you a project. You have to go through some prompts first and complete them, such as what you want to name your app, if you want TypeScript, if you want Tailwind. Tailwind's a CSS library. TypeScript is just to make your JavaScript more strict. So this is the window of the different prompts that you have to go through. So we run that, and then it asks you all these different questions. You just click yes or no, and then you will be presented with your project. So this is a VS Code, which is a code editor that most developers use to code in. There are other ones, but this seems to be the popular one now. And this is a component. So I've made a card component, which is just basically a little box with an image and some text. And then the class name is your styles. So my styles are going to have a class name of card. I've got an image. And then I've got this div, which is a box called card body, another class. And then your title and your content and your author. And they're coming from the parent component, and the props are being passed through to this component as card props. And this is the TypeScript here, because I've built this in TypeScript. And you just name what these properties are. So they're all strings. And then if we go to the next slide, you've got the home component, which is like the outer component where I'm rendering the two card components. So these are like your little Lego bricks, and then I'm placing these Lego bricks into this other Lego brick, which is like the base. And you can have as many of these as you want. So I'm displaying two cards with two different titles, two different images, authors, and content. So that's where the props are coming from. You've named them here. And then all that would create these cards. So this is your UI. I'm not a designer, so my designs are a bit rubbish. Yeah, so that's how you create a component in React. And then there's another library that I also like to use, which is called React Hook Form. So what's this? So React Hook Form is a powerful form management library for React applications. It simplifies the process of handling forms by providing an intuitive API and effective performance optimizations. You can easily manage form state, perform validation, and handle form submissions with ease. So this library is great. You can build a form and set it up and submit it really quickly. It's got all the validation in it. If you were doing it in regular JavaScript, it's quite difficult and it's a lot of code. This has lots of built-in functions that you can just call, and it's quite a fun library to use as well. So how you would set this up, so we're using our existing project, and you would install React Hook Form into your project, again in the terminal. It will create a dependency. And then we're going to create another new component called form. So you would have a folder with components. We've got the card component in here. The form component's a new folder. And this is going to have a submit function, which is attached to the form tag itself. And then you've got some inputs. And the inputs are just basically first name, last name, age, and a little error tag. So, sorry, it will look something like this on the screen. So this is the UI. You can fill in your name, your last name, and your age. And if you don't fill in your age and you press submit, it comes up with this error message saying that you need to fill this in, it's required. And when you submit this, you could submit it to a database to store it somewhere. So think of a contact form on a website that you go to and you subscribe to, or you send a message to someone on there. I'm just console logging it in the dev tools here. So you can see when you submit it, it shows you the values that you've filled in. Yeah, so that's my talk. I hope you like listening to it. If you've got any questions, feel free to reach out. Again, if you want to follow me on YouTube or Instagram, it's Code with Aimee.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Aimee. Please put the link. You can put the link in the chat box for those who would like to follow Aimee, learn more from Aimee. Thank you so much. Please, if you can, please put your hands together. You can, from wherever you are. We can probably not hear the sound, but please, let's say thank you to Aimee. Let's say thank you to Aimee. Thank you, Aimee. Please, can I see a couple of thank yous? Thank you, Aimee. Thank you, Aimee. Yeah, awesome, awesome. Now, I know that for some people, you are not looking to become a React engineer. And for some people, you've just seen something that's piqued your curiosity right now, just as Aimee was sharing. And that's basically all you need. Of course, you know that you cannot get all that you will need in this just one session, but you can now take that from here and then begin to build on that journey, begin to learn and begin to grow and begin to develop, And as you go on that journey, it means that as you start maybe every month, based on your growth level, you can even reach out to Aimee and say, see what I've done so far, and get encouragement and much more. So please, if you have any questions, as well as Aimee has shared, okay, she has shared her YouTube and Instagram code with Aimee. Yeah, it's already there. Please put that on YouTube or Instagram. You'll find that there. So after this session, please don't just send that messages without taking action. Take action. Do something with what you've learned first. Then show her what you have done. Then it's easier for her to support you on your journey, for her to help you, and for her to encourage you as much as possible. So please put your questions here. I know some people are already trying to put their questions. Put your questions there, and Aimee will probably take one or two now, so that we just run through, because I want us to really see if we can really wrap up fast enough. So we will now take more questions at the end of the session. So, but Aimee may be able to take one or two questions right here, right now. One person says, do we need to learn JavaScript before what you have just presented? So I don't know if Aimee wants to take that, or okay.
Yeah, so if you want to learn JavaScript, if you want to learn JavaScript, you can just learn that from the beginning. If you want to learn React, learn JavaScript first, because you need to know JavaScript to do React, because it is JavaScript at the end of the day. It's just a library that helps developers code better and more efficiently and faster. And it's much more fun to use than writing just vanilla JavaScript. But you can build websites in vanilla JavaScript if you want to. Lots of people still just use JavaScript. Depends what you want to get into. But if you are wanting to be like a front-end developer like I am, you need to know HTML and CSS as well. So the three things that I was talking about, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, are the first three things that you will learn to become a front-end developer. And then you can go on to do other languages.
Awesome, awesome. There are two other questions. Let's take any other question. Please, you can put your questions there, but we'll take that at the end of the session. But let's take these two questions. One of them says, can I use React with Django framework? I've also used HTML and CSS. So can I use React with Django framework? That's the first question. The second question says, what language would you advise one to start with for general web development? Yeah, what language should a person, basically someone who's just looking to start in tech as a developer, what language model should they focus on? Should they start with? And if there are hierarchies, the first one, the second one, what should they be here?
So the first question, can you use React with Django framework? I believe so. Django framework is a Python framework, I believe. That's back end. But yeah, I mean, you would be able to work with them together. You would need an API or something to connect the back end to the front end. I don't see why not. I haven't used them together, but I'm assuming you can. And then the second question, again, if you want to just learn web development, HTML, CSS, JavaScript is the first three things to learn. And then once you've learned them, have a look at which paths you want to take. You can take front end, back end, full stack. It depends what you want to do. If you want to just be a front end developer like me, HTML, CSS, JavaScript are the first three things to get you on your way. Then there are many other things to learn after that.
Okay, awesome, awesome. Thank you very much for that, Aimee. All right, guys, if you have more questions for Aimee, please put them down, and please let's just say thank you to Aimee. We'll take another question, but we'll take that afterwards. So please, we'll move next speaker now. We'll also be sharing his story, and I know that Elizabeth thought she's the one coming up for it, but we're having so that we can balance it. We've had a female, then we have a male, then we cannot balance it with another female. All right, so we have our speaker. Next person we're speaking is Abdullahi Omatayo. He's an experienced graphics designer who is also an experienced who has moved to becoming a product designer, but still dabbles into graphic design here and there, and with a lot of experience. Should I also say a lot of dollar experience doing freelancing work? So if you want to make money doing freelancing, you may also want to hear or learn from him as much as possible. So it's also going to be talking about that journey, becoming a designer if you want to be, making a success out of it. It's going to be a short talk, but please take as much as you can. As you can tell, our speaker is just speaking between 15 and 20 minutes. It's deliberate. The idea is not to share everything, share the most important things, and you pick the most important things, and we can take the learning from there. So ladies and gentlemen, please, if you don't mind, if your hands are not too busy, let's put our hands together for the one and the only Abdullahi Omatayo. The next voice you will hear will probably be the one of him. Yeah.
Hello, everyone. Thanks for having me here. My name is Abdullahi Omatayo, and I'm a graphic designer. I'm a product designer. I'm in between both because wherever is bringing money to you, you can't just stop doing it. So I still get project on product design. I still get project on graphic design. So whichever comes in, once you're a graphic designer, you always remain a graphic designer regardless. So I started my journey when I was very young. I mean, very young age, because I grew up in a printing press family where most of my brothers, they do printing work. I remember back when I was in GSS3, coming back from school, my uniform is always stained with ink because after school, I'm always going to printing press to help my brother to make little change for myself back then. So he had, when you go to printing press, there's always a section for graphic design where they make the graphics before it goes to plate making and lithography and stuff like that. So that was where I developed interest in designing, basically, because when I see those guys working, I'm like, oh, this is amazing. So I picked up interest in designing. I could remember my sister gave me the first laptop I had then. It was one huge laptop. And I started, a bit of CorelDRAW back then, because back then CorelDRAW was the thing in Nigeria. So I started using CorelDRAW, and from there I moved to Photoshop. From Photoshop, I realized that Photoshop is missing so many points. So I had to include Adobe Illustrator. Moving on, I had to include Adobe InDesign, because the more you go in design, then you realize, oh, this software is not built for this. Illustrator is not built for this. InDesign is not built for this. So let me explain. If you're starting with Photoshop, for instance, Photoshop is a raster-based software whereby it deals with pixels. I mean, tiny, tiny squares, millions, thousands coming together to form a picture. So if you're designing on Photoshop, for instance, and you are in Nigeria, you're going to struggle with the printing, because most printers in Nigeria, they prefer to, they prefer the print files to be in CorelDRAW, which I struggled back then. So when I realized, oh, Photoshop is a raster-based software, I had to move to Illustrator, which is more like a vector-based software. So whenever you see people comparing Photoshop and CorelDRAW, I always feel like this is a wrong, like two softwares you're putting together. You are meant to compare Illustrator and CorelDRAW together because they are more of a vector-based software. So when I realized Illustrator, I started using Illustrator to do more printing design, because it's more like a CorelDRAW software. So it was easy for me to convert Illustrator files into PDF and send it to CorelDRAW to convert it to CorelDRAW for printing purposes. So after my NYSC, no, sorry, before my NYSC, I got a job. I was working in a magazine company and I was using CorelDRAW, and I realized that, oh, when I design about 50, 60 pages on CorelDRAW, the file is always heavy, and sometimes it might crash that you have to start all over again. So I can remember I was designing 60 pages and the file crashed and I had to start all over again. I'm like, I told my boss then, oh, we have to get a licensed copy of InDesign. I am not using CorelDRAW again to do magazines, because if you're designing a magazine, for instance, and you're using Illustrator or Photoshop or CorelDRAW, if you're putting so many picture files, I mean heavy pictures into the design, you realize your files start getting heavy. But whereas when you do it on InDesign, it's always lighter. If you design about 100, I've just completed about 160 pages yesterday, and I had heavy pictures inside. So when I export the 160 pages to PDF, it's about 15 MB. But if you try doing 10 pages on Illustrator and with heavy pictures, you might be having about 80, 90 MB of PDF size. So that was when I started using InDesign. So in 2017, a friend of mine came into Nigeria from UK, and that was the first time I saw product design. And I'm like, oh, okay, I felt like, oh, I could do this on Illustrator, but he introduced me to Adobe SD. I've never seen Adobe SD before. He used the Adobe SD, which is quite similar to Figma, but Figma is more advanced than Adobe SD. So I started using that because of my experience in Photoshop, Illustrator, InDesign. It was easy for me to catch up on Adobe SD, because once you know one particular Adobe software, the interface are always having similar icons and text. So it was easy for me to, find my way around SD. But I felt like SD is limited to some things on product design. So I had to, include Figma into the product design sector. So I moved to UK in 2021 September, because my certificates, my BSc was mass communication. I had my mass communication in Unilag, and a lot of people feel like mass communication is just about journalism, it's about newspaper, it's about radio, television, and stuff like that. But there are some aspect of mass communication which I did, which was probably relation and advertising. My focus on the copy, brand and design aspect. But if you tell a normal person, oh, I did mass communication, the first thing that comes to their mind is, oh, you're a presenter, you're a journalist, or you're a source, or something like that. So I felt like, oh, I need a certificate that's pointing towards being a designer rather than just, oh, a mass communication, because every time I say mass communication, I still have to explain the fact that, okay, I focus more on advertising and public relation. Not everyone would understand. So I applied for masters and I had my MBA in graphic design specifically, because when I was applying, I have you're meant to submit a portfolio as a graphic, you're meant to submit a portfolio, but I had more portfolio as a graphic designer than a product designer. So my product design application was rejected, but my graphic design application was accepted because I have more portfolio on graphic design. And based on the interview I had with the admission committee, they said I was qualified for graphic design, but not product design, because I was still at the learning stage of my product design back then. Though I was already working on some projects, but most of those projects are not my project. They are more like, if you're learning as a designer, one of the things I always say is learn to collaborate with people you feel like, oh, they are ahead of you in that field. So if you're learning product design, for instance, look for somebody you know that, oh, this person is really good at this thing. Collaborate with that person, network with that person, and pick up, learn from him, learn from that person, and from there you get to understand that, okay, these are little things, these are common things you should know about the niche you find yourself. So when I moved to UK, it was a bit difficult to because as a designer, culture is always important, and audiences of design are different. So when I moved to UK, it was a bit difficult for me to navigate into the design space of UK, because I'm used to the design space of Nigeria, where, okay, customers want everything inside their design, whereas in the UK, it's quite different. People in the UK here, they want their design to be as simple as possible. Whereas where we come from, we want clients want every detail to be present in their design. So it was very difficult for me to, find the balance between designing in Nigeria and designing in the UK. But what I always believe is, if you're a designer and you want to, enter a new space, I always recommend to go into working as a full-time to understand the design space of wherever you find yourself. So when I was in Nigeria, I worked as a full-time in the design field, and I gained experience. You're not only gaining experience about design, you're also gaining experience about leadership, because if you start as a intern designer, whatever, you peak from your senior designer, because I can remember when I was having my intern as a designer back in 2015, I was paired with some senior designer, and I might have spent hours coming up with concepts, and at the end of the day, you just see the creative manager and just come behind you and say, oh, I hope you're not submitting that to your desk. And, it makes me feel bad back then, but I realized that, okay, they were pushing me. They want me to come up with something better that I've done. So coming to the UK, it was a bit difficult to get a job as a designer here, because it's always different in Nigeria, because our design space is completely different from design space in the UK, even though you have the experience. But the fact that you don't have that UK experience is always creating a gap between you and your skill. At some point, you start questioning yourself, like, am I not good enough? This was me doing this in Nigeria, but now you have to start all over again. So the reason why I chose to start working as a full-time designer here in the UK is because at the end of the day, I want to set up myself as a freelance designer. But what do I need? I need to build that chain of network first, understand the design setting of UK. Then if I've gained that knowledge, then I can set up myself. Because I gained that knowledge in Nigeria, working in few companies before I had my studio. I had my studio in Osun State, and I've trained over 50 designers in Osun State. But before setting up my studio myself, I worked in about 3 or 4 companies. I worked for I did hybrid work for some companies, and understand the design space of Nigeria. And at the end of the day, I set up my studio and say, okay, this is time for me to set up my own business. So now coming here, I can't set up my own business here as a designer, because I have to understand the design space of UK, work in the full-time role, get experience, know more things about designing in the UK. Then at the end of the day, maybe 4 years later, I can feel like, okay, I've had enough experience. I want to set up myself as a designer. So as a designer, if you're just starting as a designer, there are a few stages we need to talk about as a designer, because if you're just starting, the first stage you encounter is the introductory stage, whereby you get introduced to the software. Whoever is teaching you will teach you. Or if let's say you want to be a web developer, or you want to be a product designer, or you want to be a graphic designer. Let's say you want to be a product designer. One of the things you learn is, oh, this is Figma. That's the stage where you have to understand the software. This is how you do this on the software. This is where you go. This is how you cut this. If you want to place this is how you do this. I believe that's always the first stage of a designer. The second stage is the imitation stage. Like I said earlier, if you have somebody you see as a mentor training you through or guiding you through your design stage, it is always good to imitate the person's design, because when I started product design, I'll just go on Pinterest, pick up some UI designs and start, imitating the design, just for you to get your hands strong on the design tools. So that's the second stage as a designer generally, not product design or graphic design or wherever design field you find yourself. This stage works for you. So the third stage is family and friend stage. Once you know you're being introduced to the software, you've started imitating. Now you feel like, okay, let me start practicing. Let me start coming up. Let me start doing some live projects by myself. So at this point, the kind of project you'll be getting at that point is project from, let's say, family and friends. Let's say, oh, my sister has a shop. My sister sells this. Let me make a logo for her. Let me make a website for my sister. Let me make this for my brother. You understand? So at that stage, you're not getting honest feedback for wherever you're designing, because your family and friends understand that, oh, you're just learning this thing, and they're not going to give you an honest feedback based on the fact that you're probably doing it for free or you're doing it at a cheaper cost. So they're not going to give you an honest feedback at that stage. And I feel like, okay, wherever you're learning at that stage is being biased, because you're not getting an honest feedback. So from that stage, that's where you build your connection as a designer, because if you do something nice for your sister now, she probably posts it on her page like, oh, I've just had a logo. My brother made this logo for me. Somebody from your family and friends contact will say, oh, can your brother do this for me? Can your sister, can he make my website? Can he design my logo? Can he make a flyer for me? At that stage, you start building, a chain of connection from your family or friend, because I can remember most of the job I had in Nigeria came through most of my friends from university. Even my first, second, third full-time job in Nigeria came from my friends in the university. So you build that chain of network from family and friends. That's why it's always important that even though you're doing it for free, just know that you'll be getting more referrals from that stage. So the next stage is referral stage. So once you've done something for your family, you get referred. Like a lot of people, oh, can you make this for me? At this stage, you start getting honest feedback, because these people are not your family, they are not your friends. They are paying you, even though it's still cheap, they are paying you to do something for them. So if you make the logo, or if you make the website, or if you make the flyer, they'll probably tell you, can you make it pop? And that's the statement every designer does not want to hear. Can you make it pop? Can you make the logo bigger? So at that stage, you start understanding, you're not just understanding the design, you're understanding feedbacks from clients. And feedback is always important as a designer, because no matter what, you definitely face feedback. Sometimes you might design a whole page and clients will tell you, oh, I don't like it, can you make another one? So at that stage, you feel like, okay, you are training yourself as a designer, and you are facing more critics as a designer. So the next stage is learning on the job. As the way I am now, I have some my manager now sent me some courses I have to go through, I have to read about. So as a designer, learning does not stop. You always learn till Jesus comes. Let me put it that way. So as a designer, you always learn. There are new softwares coming out, there are new trends coming out in the design space. So you have to keep learning every day, every day, every day. So learning on the job, you've gathered from the first stage, second stage, third stage, fourth stage, you've gathered all this experience, and you feel like, okay, you're certified enough as a designer, but you're not satisfied enough. You have to keep learning, because when I started with Photoshop, and I felt I was feeling on top of the world with my Photoshop design, not until I found out Illustrator, not until I found out InDesign, not until I found out about other software that are, better than the ones I've been using. So to round it up, as a designer, I think they are just little tips we have to, just 1 minute, please. Yeah. Okay. To round it up, I just come up with little tips for you to that will help you or guide you to become a successful designer. First of all, I've talked about it before. First of all, network with other successful designers. Learn from them. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Secondly, focus on quantity. Focus on quality, not quantity. As a product designer, you'll be facing something like, oh, you want to design screens, or let's say as a graphic designer, you'll be focusing on, let's say you want to design a flyer, you want to design a logo or something like that. Focus on the quality of the job you're submitting to a client rather than the quantity. So focus on the quality rather than the quantity. So the third one, which is very important, is finding your niche as a designer. There are so many design niche. Please, it is always advisable to, find the right one for yourself. If you want to focus yourself as a product designer, pick yourself as a product designer instead of, having to pick so many design niche on your head. You only kill yourself if you say you want to be a product designer, you want to be a web designer, you want to be a animator, you want to be a 3D designer. You're not even if you're running all these programs on your computer at once, your computer is gonna crash. And so now imagine putting all these into your brain. So look at your passion. What do you like doing? I like graphic design. I started as a graphic designer. I love product design. So I'm still mixing the two together. So the two are just, connected to each other. So at this point, let me just round it off so that Elizabeth can have the floor. So I won't take too much of your time.
All righty, thank you so very much, Abdul. Ladies and gentlemen, please can we say thank you to Abdul? If you can't put your hands together, let's say thank you, thank you, thank you, Abdul. Thank you very much. Please, let's say thank you. Please, also, if you have questions for Abdul, please put it in the comment section right now. I know somebody already asked one. It will take just one, or yeah. And we can now, and then we'll have the next speaker. So at the end of the session, there are some questions that we're going to be asking the speakers. Some of those questions, it may be from ones that we have prepared, so that just 1 or 2 questions, so that it can help us or guide us accordingly as well. So if you have any question, guys, please put them in the comment section. So let's take 2 questions for Abdul now before we bring on the next speaker. I think the question here says, when they talk about niche, what does it really mean? So basically, I think he's asking Abdul, what do you really mean by niche? So Abdul will take that. He also said, please, okay, do you have a YouTube platform or social platform? So yeah, Abdul, do you want to take the question?
Okay, the first question is niche, right?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Design niche, we have different design niche. You can be a product designer, you can be a graphic designer, you can be a publication designer, you can be an illustration person, you can be a 3D designer, you can be a web designer. So if wherever you feel like you like doing, you can try everything. Like, okay, let me try this and see, okay, I really have interest in this one. Then you focus yourself on that particular field. So for me, if I get a project on, let's say, 3D designs, I don't do 3D design. So I'll probably just outsource it to somebody I know that does 3D design rather than just taking a project that I don't know how to. I'm not a 3D person. So it's always important for you to find the one you really have interest in and focus yourself on it rather than just having to start learning everything one after the other. What's the second question?
Your socials. It was asking about your socials, whether you have YouTube channel or
No, I don't have a YouTube channel. I'm not really a social person, but I have Instagram, I have Twitter, and I have
you can also share that with them in the
okay.
chat.
Okay.
Abdul will share that in the chat. Okay, I think one other question. Let me see. I think I saw it earlier. Oh, we said, do you take on mentees? Yeah.
Yes, I do. I have loads.
Okay, so I can connect with him. Yeah, he said he didn't take. Okay, another person says he didn't see anything about freelancing, how to start up. I've been applying. I don't know. So we are going to take this question at the end. He's going to talk about this question of freelancing, how you can get into it, what you can do. Yeah, especially people that have been trying it. Like this person said, you've been trying it. but no luck. So advice in that regard. Thank you so much, Abdul, for that insightful session. We are going to be taking our last session today. For today, please, just again, as I shared earlier, 1 second. So just again, as shared earlier, our goal really is to inspire you on your journey, or in this your tech journey. You may be a new entrant, you may be a newbie, you may just even looking to enter into tech. We basically want to inspire you and we know we cannot give you everything that you need in just 1 hour, but at least we want to basically set the ball rolling for you such that you take what you can take from here and start that journey. And we also want you to be part of our community so that we can constantly share opportunities with you. For example, we have a book that we want to share with you for free. Those that are part of this session, once you join our community, from next week, we send it out to those that have been part of our community, just to help you in that journey. And for our speakers too, they have opportunities that they think can help you, videos and the stuff they will share with us, and then we'll also share them with you. Our goal, what we're looking to do is to support you on that journey. When we have related events as well, we're also going to be sharing those events in that community, so you can also be part of that event as much as possible. Some of those, a lot of other things. For example, our coming event is something that we also share if you're already part of that community. So please stay tuned to the end of this session. They're going to take some more questions. They're going to get a link to our community, and then you can join. And you're going to get much more opportunities as we go along. All right, so we'll bring on our third and final speaker for the day, the one, the only Elizabeth Adegunwa. Elizabeth is a young software engineer or software developer as well, who basically started out, for like many in the, should I say I don't want to let me know you qualify, but in Nigeria, really as much as possible. And as with a lot of dedication and commitment, has grown to now begin to serve international organizations, currently serving organizations in the United Kingdom, and still growing in that field. So we also felt like it was necessary. Now we have brought people with many years of experience. You also need to learn from someone with, a bit years of experience, but smaller, so that you know that anybody at whatever level or state that you are in, there's something that you can learn, there's a way that you can grow, and you can also be better. Ladies and gentlemen, please, if you don't mind, put your hands together and help me welcome the amazing Elizabeth.
Hello. Am I on mute? Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, and welcome to our Navigating Your Path to Success in Tech Way. My name is Elizabeth, and I've been a software developer for 6 years now, but maybe like professionally 5 years, but my learning journey and everything, I would say 6 years now. I have a computer science degree, but before I got into uni, I already started learning web development before I got into uni. So I had a bit of training experience before I got into uni. So I would be sharing info and tips to junior developers, those that are still like trying to break into tech and they want to find their way, or the best way they can learn, or what they can channel their energy into, and also people that are already in tech, and just share advices that has been helpful to me. Okay, I'll be sharing my screen now. Is my screen sharing already?
Yes, we can see your screen, yes.
Okay, so this is where it's supposed to start from. So tech way, finding your path. And then we'll go to the points that I just picked out. It's very few because I don't want to like bombard you with a whole lot of stuff. So we'll be looking into building a strong foundation and some experience, embracing challenges and failures, effective communication and collaboration, seeking mentorship and guidance, networking and community/contribution, personal branding and visibility, persistence and patience in job search. So I'll be starting with building a strong foundation. This is mostly for people that are still like trying to get into tech, that are still learning. I would advise that before you start applying for jobs, or before you start applying for jobs or building your portfolio, it is very key for you to know the foundation, for you to familiarize yourself with the foundation, like get yourself through the process and let the process also go through you. Be familiar with it, know the basic, like learning HTML, CSS, just like as Aimee said. Before you can go into React or JavaScript, you need to know some hypertext markup to build your structure, and then CSS to style your web applications, and then JavaScript to create the functionality and the logic behind your application. And then frameworks like React, Angular for better use of coding, to make your code writing easier. So yeah, your foundation is very, very key. And if you skip this, it's going to be a lot of challenges for you when you start applying for jobs, or you want to get a job and then you can't bag a job quickly. So the basic is very important, and then mastering the basics is very, very key. Well, some examples that I would say about mastering the basics, when I will just give examples on JavaScript, for example, on programming languages. For example, knowing things like the data structures, the algorithm, and creating functions, creating a loop, things like that. Get yourself used to creating logics like that before going into the market world of applying for jobs.
The 12 minutes timer.
12 minutes, counting down.
Is that for me? Okay. And hands-on experience. While you are trying to like create your foundation, building a strong foundation, it's also very good to put those things, those theoretical knowledge into practice by creating the practical aspects. If you're already in the industry, you definitely have experiences and projects you've worked on, and then that would be easy to show to employers that wants to employ you. But if you're a junior, or you don't have a job experience, you are still learning, you can definitely get like projects to work on. You can get free resources online like Front-End Mentor, Codecademy, that can give you projects that you can work on. They will give you the assets, the pictures, and everything you need. And then you just create a project out of what they send to you. And then showcasing your skills. The projects that you built can then be transferred to your portfolio. These are ways that you can showcase, okay, this is what I've learned so far, this is what I can do, or this is what I can also improve on. Yeah. So the next point would be embracing challenges and failure. When it comes to programming or coding, I know there would be a lot of challenges and failures. There'll be a lot of codes that you write countless times that won't work. There will be a lot of nights that you stay up all the whole night and then your code won't still work. Those are things that we should embrace and not just turn away from when we face challenges, because it is part of what makes you a good programmer or a good developer. It is part of what makes you what pushes you to being good at what you are doing. So when you see failures or challenges, just know that I always tell myself that if I try to write a code like 10 times and then it doesn't work, I've just learned that, okay, yes, I know I can't do that like that next time. And it's not like I wasted my time on it. It's just me still seeing it as a form of learning that, okay, if I get to see something like this in future, I can't do it like this. So embrace challenges and failures. Don't shy away from challenges. If you see something that you've not worked with before and then you feel like you can't do it, or you just feel like, okay, let me go for it, and then you're definitely learning and then adding to yourself. The next one is effective communication and collaboration. This is more for people that are already in the tech industry. Effective communication is very good in the at your workplace, because then they would feel like, okay, yes, the person we are working with is somebody we can communicate with and all of that. We can collaborate, because you are going to be working with a group of people, and then for a successful project, for a project to be successful, you need to be able to collaborate with people. So those are some core values that you can put into your work ethics, I believe. So yeah, that's about that. And then seeking mentorship and guidance. This is for people just getting in and people already in the tech industry, because we all need mentorship, we all need guidance. Nobody knows it all. Yeah, there's always room for learning. You can't know everything. So seeking mentorship is very key. You can get mentorship on platforms like ADP List, where you can see people that you can mentor or people that can be a mentor to you. So that's also very good. As somebody that has a bit of experience, it's good to like try to find someone you can mentor. So you have the opportunity to pour in what you've learned into somebody else. And I believe when you try to like to pour what you learn into somebody else, you also like refresh your memory. You also learn some things that, oh, you didn't even know you could do that then, but now you found a better way to do it. So yeah, seeking mentorship and guidance is very important, and it's going to help a lot of newbies going forward, because it's really going to help you. You won't feel stuck most of the time, because there will be days and weeks or whatever it is that you would feel stuck or you don't know what you're doing. When you have somebody you can run to or call on, that's a very big flex. And then the next one is networking and community/contribution. So this is a very big one in the tech I won't say tech industry, because it's a very big one whatever aspect you decide to work on or career you decide to chase, because we need people, we need to know what is going on, we need to know what the next trend is. And if you don't network with people, you can't really know that. So networking is very important. You get more information, you get advices on where you can probably apply for jobs. You get referrals, even still. You get you get to be active online. And contribution, you can get you can contribute on open source projects like GitHub, or you can contribute on forums like Stack Overflow. So this networking and community/contribution is generally for everyone, not for just junior or people in tech. It's for everyone, because everyone needs a community, everyone needs a place to contribute. And I believe contributing shows that you are growing in your career. You are reaching the highest potential you can, because you are pushing yourself to do more than you're supposed to do. And when you push yourself, you see the beautiful aspect of it. You see what you've not learned, you see what you can add to yourself, and all of that. And then the next would be I don't know if I'm too fast, but the next is personal branding and visibility. I believe this is a very important one for both newbies and people in the tech industry already. It's a very, very important aspect of your job or your career, because people need to see you. You need to be visible. You need to be out there. You need to be active. So people can reach out to you. Employers can reach out to you. Recruiters can reach out to you. It's a very, very good practice to be visible online. Some examples that you can probably do is being active on LinkedIn. You can just write post on LinkedIn, something like that, or contributing to forums like Stack Overflow and GitHub. That's also a way of being active. You can also go into like writing blogs if that's something that you enjoy. If you learn something new, you can just what you feel you've learned from it, what you found funny, what you don't know about it. That's also something you can include in personal branding and visibility. It is very, very good, and I believe that everyone should incorporate that into their career. And then persistence and patience in job search. This one is quite a tricky one, because I know a few people going into tech has reached out to me, and they'd be like, they've been applying for jobs, they're not getting jobs and all of that. And I asked somebody once, and then I was like, okay, how long have you learned for? And then she said she has been learning for 1 month. I said, well, you yourself, you didn't give yourself the time to process this whole thing. For me, I believe 1 month is too short to learn, to break into any career path, and then you start applying for jobs. Because trust me, you've not even learned the basics. You don't really know what you are doing. You just know that, okay, you've built something, you want to start applying for jobs. Recruiters obviously know this when they see your projects or when they see your CV and all of that. They know you don't really have the skills. Even if as a junior role, they don't expect you to know everything, but a senior developer that is going to employ you at least needs you to know some basic stuff. They need you to know how to work with HTML, how to style, or they might not want you to know everything, but they need to know that, okay, if I give you this project, you know the basic things to start or to navigate your way through it. So they are also watching out for things like that. You can definitely learn on the job, but you also need to understand some things that doesn't make you feel like, oh, everything I need, I have to go to the senior. Everything I need, I have to go to the senior. So they also look out for things like that. So patience in job search, I would say you should definitely have confidence in yourself, but applying for a job when you are just like 1 month or 2 months into the career is kind of like some form of overconfidence, and it is only going to frustrate the person. It's only going to frustrate you. So you need to like take the time, at least give yourself 3-4 months before you start applying for a job. And I believe that time range, you would have learned like the HTML, the CSS, the JavaScript. You would have also gotten to like work on a few projects before you start applying for jobs. Also, you can also fall in the humility side of it, because when I started learning, and it took me a long time before I started applying for jobs, because I felt like I was not good enough, or my project was not good enough, or I needed to add more things to it, or this is not enough, I needed some more things. It took me so long, and I feel like that's also a wrong thing. So you need to like find a balance, a base system where you know that, okay, yes, I have this so and so I can put myself out there. Rejection is going to come. That's 100% correct. It is going to come. There's no way. But you definitely get something at the end of the day. So finding a balance when you are looking for a job, and then before putting yourself on the job market, is very key. You need the confidence, you also need the humility, but don't have too much of the humility that you then doubt yourself too much that you are not good enough. Because I had a very, very big problem with that. My first job, I didn't even apply for the job. I was referenced to the job because I was not applying for a job. And then I know someone that was like, when do you want to start applying for a job? You already know this thing, apply for a job. And then I was like, I don't think I'm ready yet. I've not learned everything. And then she'll be like, you can't learn everything, but just you learn on the job. And then she referenced me to someone that was looking for a web developer in Nigeria. Then that was my first job. And then she called me, and then she was like, okay, I saw your portfolio and all of that. So I got the job at the end of the day, and that was my first job. And I didn't even apply for it. But I believe if I had started applying earlier, I would have gotten better, because I would have been working on real world projects. Do you understand? So patience and persistence in job. You might get the rejection, but it doesn't mean you should go back. But be patient. Give your time to process the career you're just breaking into. Don't rush to the job market because you've just done 1 month. Give yourself time to process it. Let the job go through you to go through the job. Do you understand? So yeah, I believe that's what I have so far, and I hope I'm not out of time. And then I also like did some free resources where you can learn how to code. You have free code camp, you have Codecademy, you have Khan Academy. Codecademy is one that I use a lot. I even use this at work because I get to do training at work too. I use this at work, and you get to practice as you learn. So this is a good one, and I think you can do it. It's free, but for you to access some extra things, you need to pay, but you can get something for free from there. And then hands-on experience, front-end mentor is totally free. Front-end pro is also free. I use this one a lot. This was the one that really, really helped me with my front-end skills. They would give you projects to work on. They would even provide design for you to work on. And it's really good. It really helps me, to be honest. And then also, personal branding. You can write articles on Medium to share what you've learned or a new skills that you've learned stuff like that. Or LinkedIn, you can share posts on LinkedIn. I'm also just starting my own LinkedIn account too, so I'm not judging anybody. Take your time. No one is rushing you, but just put it at the back of your mind that it's something that it would be nice for you to have, just to be present online. And then open source project / community. You have I added this link where you can, it's a link or an article on how to contribute on GitHub. It's a very good read, and it will give you examples on how you can actually do that. Yeah, and then Stack Overflow. Quick tip on Stack Overflow: if you want to start contributing on the Stack Overflow forum, you can use the tags to filter through the questions that you can answer. For example, if you are still learning HTML or just CSS, you can filter down to HTML, and then you would only see questions on HTML, and then you can help answer those questions. Yeah, so yeah, thank you. That's me. So thank you so much, and stay connected with me on LinkedIn and YouTube for more exciting updates and tips. Yeah. I'll drop my LinkedIn and my YouTube link in the comment section. But if you also want this slide, it's not so much, but if you want this slide out, if you want it, I can try to include some few bits, but I also don't want to like include so much text into it, because I will get bored if it was me. But I feel like this is enough to just go through if you are just starting in. These are some key points that you can actually make use of. So if you want this, just you can reach out to me on LinkedIn. I'll send it to you. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Alrighty.
Okay.
Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Please, guys, can we say thank you to Elizabeth? Thank you to Elizabeth. I say thank you to her. Thank you so very much. It was lovely to hear your story. And please, if you have questions too, please put them in the comment for her right now. If you have questions, put them in the comment. So right now, if you also have questions for our two earlier speakers, Aimee and then Abdullahi, put them in the comment right now. This is where we are taking the questions. We have very limited time here. We are looking to round up in the next 5 to 10 minutes. So we want to take the questions fast as possible, and then round up as much as possible. Just before then as well, I would also like to encourage that you join our very young WhatsApp community, where when we have our other event, the one for next month, another event, especially the one that pertains to you, you can basically be a part of that. So the link will be shared in the chat right away. Okay, so yeah, yes, the WhatsApp link is shared. You can please request or join the community while that is ongoing. So please, if you have any question, please put them in the comment section. While we are putting our comment in, like I said, we have just 5 to 7 minutes. Yeah, sorry, 5 to 8 minutes to be done with this meeting. The first question would go to Aimee, and then we'll have another question for Abdul, then Elizabeth will take a question, and then if you have more questions from the audience, then we'll take that. So the first question, no, sorry, I think there's a question here first for Elizabeth. How do I know when I am balanced? Okay, maybe Elizabeth can take that first before we ask Aimee the question. How do I know when I'm balanced? I think maybe you spoke about balance.
Yeah.
Your session, yeah.
That's a very good question. I would say how you would know you are balanced is when you start learning, and obviously when you start learning, you've done your HTML. This is just assuming that you're looking into web development. So you've started learning, and you've done your HTML, you've done your CSS, and then you've done your JavaScript, and then obviously the next thing to do is try to push those learnings into a practical development. So I would advise that if you can at least get like 5 to 6 projects, that maybe maximum of 5 projects as a junior, as someone that is looking into entry role, maybe 5 projects. If you can push that onto your portfolio, I believe that you would be in a balanced base, because yeah, 5 good projects on your portfolio is a good one.
Okay, all right. Thank you for that. I hope that answers your questions. So some of our speakers will also share with us those that have slides or links, opportunities they will share with us, and then we'll also send it to you in the community as well. So please, the WhatsApp community link has been shared in the group. So please, in this chat, please endeavor to join so that you can see or get some other opportunities from us as we go along. Like I mentioned, close to 200 people registered for this, even though we have just a fraction of them here. So some of those other people too will also be still inviting them to join the community as well when we share this replay video with them for those that can learn. So you may still see other people join in the coming days as we go along. All right. So the next question goes to Aimee, and I think other speakers can also take a cue from that in your own segment. If you can answer this briefly, if you are to start today, like you've had this number of years of experience, everyone here has had this number of years of experience, but if you are to start today, what is that thing? What are the 1, 2, 3 steps that you are going to do differently and that anybody here can emulate and do and start doing immediately?
So I would not spend all the money that I wasted on courses that people tell you they're going to get you a job, because it was a complete waste of time and I should have not done it. Go on YouTube and watch videos if you are a visual learner, or go on Amazon and buy a book and then practice what you learn. Just keep practicing and you will get better. There will be times where I'll be like, I have no idea what I'm doing. I still think that every day. But you will get there. And when you get that light bulb come on in your head, it's just a great feeling. And that's why I like doing this job.
Okay, awesome. Thank you for that answer. The other speakers will give a go, but let me ask again. This is something else that's coming from personal message I'm getting. So how many hours do you say that you put into your craft weekly? And how many would you advise a newbie to put into their craft weekly?
Was
Aimee?
that for me?
Yes, that's for you.
Oh, so I guess before I was working, I would have just spent a few hours a day maybe doing stuff, watching videos, but anytime I get some free time, I will try and watch a video, read a blog. There's a good website called dailydev.com, I think it is, or dev.daily. Let me type it. Daily Dev, I think it is. If you search for that, it's an app you can download on your phone, or there's a website that you can view. There's loads of blogs on there that are linked to all these other websites. So Elizabeth mentioned Free Code Camp. There's blog posts that come from there, but that one like hooks them all together, which I find really useful. And there are communities and stuff you can join on there. I was doing a React 30-day reading one, so I read a post every day about React. I'm not a very good reader, so it's been useful because it's helped me get better at reading. I still prefer to watch videos. I like watching videos on ×2 speed because I'm always rushing about and never have any time. So
okay, all right. Thank you very much for that, Aimee. Please, if you have any other question for our speaker, let's put them in the comments. While we're wrapping up, we have I think 5 more minutes now, if I'm correct. Sorry, I think it's supposed to be 2. So let's quickly take one from Abdul. Please, one of the questions that was asked, basically, how does somebody get started as a freelancer? And
Okay.
especially if you have tried multiple times, you're not getting jobs, as a way, in your own
Okay.
experience, short, straight and sharp, how they can basically make an headway in that regard.
Yeah, basically the first hindrance as a freelancer is if your profile says Nigeria, it's always difficult to get a job as a freelancer. If you're maybe on Upwork, if you're on Fiverr, the kind of project that was going to be coming to your desk is going to be limited because of the distance, and considering being third world country, it's always the problem. I'm not going to lie. So there's huge difference when I was in Nigeria, and there's huge difference when I was in the UK, because I've done like ×4. Within 2 years in the UK, I've done like ×4 of jobs that are done in Nigeria for about 5 to 6 years as a freelancer. So the first thing is you have to be experienced enough before you join the freelance community. You have to be experienced enough, because if you don't have that experience, trust me, you're not going to survive more than one project, because there are thousands of freelancer online, India and Pakistan, which they are also amazing designers. So you don't want to be in that pool of amazing designer where you're just coming with basic knowledge. So you have to be experienced enough. That's the first thing. And the second thing is just keep being online, because you don't know when the right customer is going to contact you and give you a job and give you a go. And when you get the first 5-star click, that's the beginning of it. So
Okay, awesome. I hope that helped. I think that was George that was asking about freelancing. I hope that helped. Please let's know. Please,
yeah,
you
the
can
person
also
can
notice the
contact me. I can put the person through on their setting up his accounts, whichever niche.
Okay, so please, that's a free pass for you, George. If you're already in freelance, you can also reach out to Abdullahi and he can help as well. So Abdullahi, the same question that went to Aimee, can you also take that? If you had to start today, what is it that you are going to do differently? Like 1, 2, 3 things you're going to do differently to get, better, basically to cut your journey shorter and get results faster.
I'll pick a comfortable niche for myself instead of having to learn everything. I'm just going to pick one aspect and say, this is what I want to do.
Focus on it.
There's money in everything. You just have to know what you love doing.
Amazing. Focus. A lot of the time we are so distracted with everything, with a lot of things. So focus. Amazing. So let's take Elizabeth. That same question. If you are starting today, what are you going to do differently? And how you can take it together with the second question, which is the number of hours would you say that you have put into your craft weekly? And for someone who is just starting out or who is just in that, how many hours would you say that you need to put in daily or weekly to achieve the great results?
For me, what I would have done different was I would have made use of networking more, because when I was learning, I didn't really have a community where I was very active, and that did tell a lot on me, because there are some times that I would get stuck in some problems, and then because I was not like getting a way to solve it, I would then feel stuck and then just leave the project and not continue. So also that did add to me spending more time on learning. So I would have made sure that I get into a networking community where I can ask people questions. And then based on timing and also on tutorial, I would have made sure that I did more practical tutorial than just watching YouTube. Just like Aimee said, watch YouTube videos and practice. It's very, very important that you watch and practice. Don't just watch the videos, watch and practice. That's the magic to it. Watch and practice. And then based on time, when I was learning, I seriously didn't have a timetable, because anytime I felt like learning, that I would just go to my laptop and then learn. But it's also very good to have a timetable so you don't burn out on your way to while learning. So I would say maybe spending 3 hours in a day or 5 hours in a day. Let's say 3 hours doing it in the morning or at night before you go to bed, or whenever you feel comfortable doing it. 3 hours is a good yeah.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. All right, so I don't think we have any other question for the team. So what I want us to do right now is just please join our community. I don't have a laptop here. Can I still learn? I don't have a laptop here. Can I still learn? So I think don't
Yeah.
worry. We are going to be having final more or less like your final address. Just a 1-minute final address today. So you can also take that question as well, as you can add it into your final address. Each of our speakers, any other thing else that you think that you want to share accordingly, So our speakers are sharing their links, their LinkedIn, their YouTube. Aimee just shared a YouTube link. Please, you can follow, subscribe too. Please, that is one way to support Aimee for coming to share with you today. Subscribe to our channel and learn as much as possible. There's LinkedIn. I've seen LinkedIn. Oh yeah, Aimee's LinkedIn too. Elizabeth's LinkedIn. That's Shola Adegunwa. You can see it there.
I'll post
And
mine
my
now.
YouTube as well. Then Abdullahi is also sharing his Instagram, his handles of socials as well. Please follow them, follow them, follow them. As the WhatsApp community is also there, where you are going to be learning more. Basically, when we have subsequent, it's not the place where we are going to be bombarding you with messages, really. When we have specific opportunities that will benefit you, we share it there. We have a book that will benefit you, we share with you. We have an event that will benefit you, we share it with you. Things that will basically benefit you are things that we're going to be sharing with you. And there are things that our speakers also have that they share with us. We can also share with you in that community as well. So please join the community. That's the WhatsApp link. Let me share it one more time. Yeah, you can just join that community. So yeah, good. Elizabeth has shared our LinkedIn and then our YouTube as well. Okay, so oh, sorry. I think I'm actually not sharing it to everyone. Oh, I just saw that I'm sharing the link into, okay, I've shared the link to everyone now. Yeah, please. Okay. All right. Thank you so very much. So we are going to be having our final address from our speakers. Final address from our speakers. We started with Aimee today so that we can end with Aimee today. So let's start with Elizabeth, then we move to Abdul, then we now end with Aimee. So Elizabeth, let's have you.
What final address? Yeah.
Yes, and you can take the last question that was asked.
Okay. Okay. What's my final address? I don't know. Well, I would say that take your time while learning. Just take your time and go through the process, like I said, and don't give up. There are a lot of things to learn. Also, I also get questions like, oh, what language should I learn? I'm trying to break into tech. Nobody can decide that for you. You need to take the time to look into what interests you, if it is web development, if it is front-end development, back-end development, full stack developer, or cyber security. There are thousands of chains in the tech industry. So it's not just one career path. There are thousands, well, there are a lot. So you need to find out what really interests you, and then you can pick a language that fits that you can learn. So that's also one tip that I know a lot of people do ask. So yeah, don't give up, take your time. You don't need to rush yourself, but also don't take so much time because time is ticking, but take your time also. And the question was, I don't have a laptop yet, can I still learn? Yes, but you do need a laptop to be a web developer or break into tech. But if you're just still like testing the waters and then trying out the idea, you can definitely get apps like what's it called? CodePen, or Code Sandbox. Yes, you can create an account with them, log in, and then they'll give you a platform to write your code. You can also host your website with them, and then it will be on the browser. But at the long run, you would need to get a laptop. So you can just sign up with them. You can log in with any laptop that you have. You still have your projects that you have in your account. So CodePen or Code Sandbox is something you can use if you don't have a laptop yet. And yeah, that's me. And then also, if you want the document that I shared earlier, you can just reach out to me on LinkedIn. I would share with you. Yeah, that's me. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Elizabeth. Thank you so much for being here today. We learned a lot. All right, so let's have Abdul.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like I've said before, don't try to learn so many things. Focus on what you love doing, what you have passion for. If you have passion for graphics, if you have passion for products, if you have passion for illustration, 3D, web design, just focus on wherever you want, wherever you feel like you love doing, and keep practicing every day. Watch tutorials, watch video, go on LinkedIn, go on Twitter, go on Pinterest, especially as a designer, because you definitely see so many design concepts. So sometimes if I'm designing and I have creative block, I just go on Pinterest to pick so many ideas. As a designer, you have to learn how to steal ideas, creatively. That means you have stealing from this, joining everything together to make yours, so it doesn't look like you're copying somebody. And also, if you're copying somebody's work, always give credit to the person, so it doesn't look like you're, copying somebody's work without acknowledging them in wherever you're posting. So
All right, thank you so much for that. Aimee, the final word, and then the question about laptop as well.
oh, I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, do you want to quickly take
Yeah,
that?
as a designer, you definitely need a laptop. You can still manage to run Figma on your phone. You can still manage to run Canva on your phone, but you can't run Adobe on your phone. I'm sorry. So you have to get a laptop, whichever way. It's not necessarily you have to get a very expensive laptop. Just start with the basic one. I remember my laptop I started with it's worth about 10,000 or 7,000 naira back then. But this is me today using a MacBook. So just start from whichever laptop you can get your hand on.
All right, interesting. Thank you very much for that. So let's have Aimee's final word and then take that question as well.
Yeah, just keep learning, take your time, like Elizabeth said, keep practicing. You need to have a lot of motivation to keep doing this career. If you haven't got that, then maybe don't bother, because you do need a lot of motivation and passion. If you want to be a web developer, maybe choose something that's based on your hobby. So I liked art, so I went as a front-end developer because it's kind of creative. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Aimee, for that question, for the answer to the question, then for that final word. Thank you so much, everybody. Please, if you don't mind, if you are still here, can you just help say thank you, Aimee, thank you, Elizabeth, thank you, Abdul, thank you. Let's just help me. I want to say like 2 or 3 thank yous for the guys before we close this meeting. Help say thank you. If you've learned something from them, help say thank you. Yes, I see the clap. Help say thank you to them. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thank you, guys. Really, really appreciate it. So please follow them on socials, and then please follow them on socials. Follow them on socials on their YouTube. If you follow their YouTube, also please subscribe to the channel as well. And please join our community. If there's anything you need further information, we're also going to be sharing other opportunities with you as well. Before the end of the week, there is a book that we're also going to be sharing with our community members and other people that are registered for this event that could not even make it to the event, so please, let's do that as well. And by the time we also have this video uploaded on YouTube, we'll also share with you so that for those that want a replay of the video, we can also learn accordingly. So thank you so very much, everybody. Let's have a splendid day, and please join our community. You already have the link to the community. Please join the community, and then we'll take it off from there. Cheers, everybody. Bye.
Bye.
No, thank you.
Bye, Aimee. Thank you.
Thank you.
Off again.
Thank you very much.